Bridges.
States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So item number one, approval of the minutes dated March 14th, 2022.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Heather, Lynn, Dan, and Peter, how do you vote?
Peter votes aye.
Thank you.
Have it all? Right, item number two is discussion and possible action request for development waiver. Allow for an increase in the height of 2 retaining walls or allow for single level rear yard space. Public comments be taken.
Thank you, Chairman Cross. This is actually a pretty straightforward case. I'm sure as you read in your packets, and you may actually recall this actual case. This was a mountainside project that was approved last December, I believe, actually December of 2020. Going through their process, they've determined that they'd like to make a modification to the proposed rear yard space. But just for our, just to get us on the same page, you can see this was the site at the Tranquil Place subdivision, the Kunker residence. You can see that basically it's surrounded by mostly built homes. There is a vacant subdivision, which is to its west. Looking at the existing design, as you recall, you can see in this slide and within your report as well, the two areas that are highlighted where there was an upper deck and then there were two staircases that went to two lower levels that sort of hugged the proposed pool. What the applicant is looking to do, and which actually falls under your purview, you could have approved this back in the mountainside case, but now they've come back to you to have it approved with a height waiver. As you can see in the proposed site plan, now that upper level is now being joined with raising the two side yard levels that were previously sunken. So if you look at the, you can see the proposed elevation is a little bit different. You have some additional wall compared to the existing elevation where you could see they utilized a lot of railing as required by building code as well. But in order to raise these areas, the walls were needed, and they proposed additional stone to help break down the scale of those new taller walls.
Is it stick on stone or is it something, something material? They call stick on. It's natural stone. It's actual stone.
So as part of the public process, they went again through this participation requirements, reaching out to neighbors within 500 feet. They were contacted by one resident and answering questions in regards to the proposal. The HOA has also reviewed and approved this amended request to the approved project or to the original project. So typical to our other mountainside or DRB cases, there's some conditions of approval that are shown in your report. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have in this case. Well, now that we've got one question, any other questions?
Sorry.
I'll move approval. What I've heard so far, that's no reason why we should move approval subject to the conditions stated in the staff report. That's what you're getting at.
All those in favor? Aye.
Peter?
Aye. Peter votes aye.
Thank you, Peter. Heather, Lynn, do you hear me? Okay.
All right, that case is approved. Let's move on to our mountainside case. Would you like to introduce this case? Would you like to introduce this case, or would you like
Oh,
to-
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. Five, discussion possible action request for approval of mountainside development. County Council taken case 21-30-MS
Okay, Stacy.
Thank you, Chairman. And as you can see, that is a development vacant lot that we're looking at in the crossings at Carefree. Lot 21. The applicant, Mr. Joel Moreno, along with the owners, Michelle and Jennifer. Like I said, the owners are here. You know, the others. All right then. Thanks. Another fun one. All right, so as you can see on the map and as in your report, the location of the property, somewhat in our kind of middle part of town, on its east side. This property is well surrounded by existing homes. We're starting to see that a lot today. A lot of infill properties in Carefree are being developed now. To its west is a Carefree neighborhood, the estates. This property in particular, this highlights the setbacks. As you can see, there's a significant wash that actually rests in the drainage channel at the southern part of this property. And this has a lot to do with where this home, where the home has been sited, as well as discussed in the report. As you can see with the slope analysis, it sort of spans both sort of our steeper slopes and our less steep slopes. And they're staying a considerable distance from the wash. When we have washes, as you know, with a certain flow rate, we also have our erosion setback policies. And so this home sited itself a little further away from that wash and closer to the street, somewhat in line with the existing homes to its east and its west. This particular subdivision doesn't have defined envelopes on the slopes, on the plat, excuse me. It just goes by the town's building envelope standards. So with that said, the requirements in the zoning district being R135, it complies with our lot coverage requirement, which is anything under a solid roof, as well as the disturbance limits. That's anything that's been developed on the property. We showed the setbacks, and that home is located well within those required areas not to be, for no structures to be placed. And cumulative height is 38 feet measured from the retaining walls of the driveway to the highest point of the roof line. 40 is what's allowed. The grading and drainage has been reviewed by the town engineer, and they do comply with our development standards, and the cut to fill ratio, which is important for us, has been met. This site will be served by Carefree Water Company eminently. As well as have a private septic system for wastewater. Further, with DRB sort of purview, they have environmentally sensitive features on the property, include basically the steep slopes and the wash. They have done a salvage plan and have looked at relocating some of the material that's within the development envelope. Is located with minimal impact to the sensitive features on the lot, and as I mentioned before, in line with the existing homes that are on the street. They do need these retaining walls at the driveway to contain the slopes, so that we don't have our spill slopes and we kind of contain any disturbance with those walls. This is a Southwest modern architecture. It is within an HOA, and that HOA has approved this design. Landscaping will be native. Here you can see sort of the extent of the disturbed area and the landscaping. It just kind of gives you an idea of the site plan. You can see that the access comes off of Quad Trail and goes up to the property. Like many properties in Carefree, they have rear yard where they have a pool, a spa, some barbecue space, as well as a small putting green. And again, they've really tried to confine and keep tight the grading and disturbance of the lot. I think the rendering probably explains it the best. I think these are some of the best renderings we've gotten. This could be our new standard for our mountainside cases, which I think gives us a very good idea of what this property is going to look like once it's developed on all of its sides. I hope you had a chance to go through those in your report. Again, here's the rear and east sides, again, showing full circle the development and how it sits within the landscape. With respect to the public process, they did follow the required citizen participation. requirements. There was a resident that did contact the applicant and answered general questions. The HOA has also reviewed and approved this project, and the conditions of approval are attached to your report. So with that said, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
I don't know.
I don't know. No, we're in. Fantastic. All right, perfect. All right.
Motion.
Any-
All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
All right, perfect. Thank you, everybody. There's been a few, so now that we've kind of concluded this meeting, before you adjourn, our next meeting is starting at 5:45. We'll try to figure out, and those of you on the phone, we'll try to figure out how we can do this by Zoom. And again, be close to your emails, and we'll try to send you that information. Trying to do it for this development review board meeting just was too complicated at the last minute, so
We have to wait that long?
you have to wait.
I'm sorry, she's picking up terribly.
That's what I was about to say.
Pardon? What was? I'm sorry.
You're basically breaking up. Like, I can't understand what you're saying at all.
Okay. Those are some of the difficulties that we have when we've got sort of these offsite locations. I'm sorry, I was just talking about trying to see if we can coordinate the 5:45 meeting so that you all can participate by Zoom. So just stay by your emails and we'll be in touch. Is that clear?
Yep,
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.